I think it's incredible how boom or bust Justin Fields is as a prospect. I really wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year as a rookie. I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the league in 2 years. I think his ceiling and floor is that drastic. And when I watch his tape, I got to be honest, I see a ton of flaws. He is very raw as a player. He makes a ton of mistakes. And the comparison I would probably give to him would be maybe Carson Wentz. Honestly, so many, once I sort of was watching and thinking like Carson Wentz is kind of like what he's like, I couldn't not see him as Carson Wentz just because of how similar they were. So I want to talk about some negatives to start off and some just maybe poor decisions, poor reads, and not horrible ones, but ones he's going to have to be able to make at the NFL level. So right here, here's how this play works. It's a play action to the right. Fields is then going to run to his right. Play action to the left. Fields runs to the right. And then you have multiple receivers who are also going to run to Fields' right. Hopefully they get open. And really, the way that you typically run this play would be that the first two options are passing options. The third option is running play with Fields. That's how I think most NFL teams run it. Although, again, it's impossible to say. Teams run it differently. Ohio State might have the running option first because Fields is a gifted runner. But like, watch. So Fields takes a snap. He is going to run this play action. And you notice that, I mean, number 5 right there for Ohio State, he's open. He is very much open. And he's probably the guy that you would want to throw to right here. Fields is not going to make that decision. Now, it works out. Fields is able to run, picks up the first down. So, kind of no harm, no foul. What I personally find interesting about a play like that is how much do you really blame Justin Fields? Because, it worked out. They got the first down. Yes, it wasn't a touchdown, but you know what? It was close to a touchdown. They ended up getting the touchdown on the very next play. It's hard to really criticize him too much. And while I do agree that those types of plays wouldn't really work at the NFL level, I also think that kind of thing it's weird to really blame a quarterback for. It's just kind of hard because who knows if he would have done that at the NFL level. Maybe he only did this because it's the college level and he knows he's just that good of a runner in college. But now I want to show this play because I never would have showed that last play if just in isolation. I'm showing that last play because I've seen plenty of examples of things like this. I think this one was a better one of showing, a better one of an example, a worse play from Fields. It's going to be, again, a similar concept. Fields goes to the right, and there's 3 throwing options that he could look towards. So Fields takes a snap, fakes as though he's going to the left, then goes to the right. And now, as you see, there are a couple of options that aren't really that open, but they're open-ish. There's a chance. So what should Fields do? I think what Fields should probably do is just continue running up. Because if you continue running up, you can potentially outrun somebody eventually and get the corner and get this first down. Plus, you're giving your receivers more time to get open. But instead, what Fields is going to do is basically just run straight forward. And by the way, by up, I mean closer to the top of the screen. So towards his right. Basically, he's on the 15-yard line. Don't go much past like the 13-yard line. But instead, Fields is just going to run straight forward, essentially. That's what he does. And while it does get a receiver open, he misses the throw while getting tackled, and it ends up not working out. I think he would have been better off trusting his arms a little bit more. So again, these are nitpicks for sure, but I have bigger criticisms that I will get into in a second. And also, I should mention, Fields is not like a dumb guy or anything. He makes plenty of good reads too. Like, let's look at this one. It's going to be it's kind of surprising because it first looks like a blitz, but it's actually going to be a cover 4 zone with an extra player in coverage. This is supposed to just be a 3-man rush, but with the play action and a receiver running over the middle, the play action is actually going to draw 2 defensive players further in, and then they're going to have to kind of scramble to get further back, which is why it looks like a blitz, but is actually just a 3-man rush. And Fields' job is to try and find a gap in coverage where he can make this throw over the middle. So Fields takes the snap, and he does run the play action. And as you notice, he could maybe try to fire this one through right now. It looks like he isn't quite on that read just yet. He will get on it in just a split second. But, you could make this throw now, but it is risky, right? There's a linebacker over the middle. He could potentially take it away. So Fields hesitates, he waits, and then he makes the throw a little bit later because he knew that's when it would be more open. So In college, this is a great play from Justin Fields. But I guess that's kind of the issue, right? Is in college, it's a great play from Fields, but will it be a great play in the NFL? And while it feels weird to criticize a player in college for having a great offensive line, it's not like it's his fault he played for a great team. It does kind of go to show that he's going to have to learn more than, say, a Zach Wilson will, since Zach Wilson had plenty of times when he was under fire for a large part of the game and when his receivers didn't have a ton of separation. Whereas Fields, he kind of has the luxury in college of being able to be more patient since he doesn't have to worry about pressure as much. And I also think that, his pocket presence just isn't that great. A little bit more on that in a second. So I do think that that's an interesting thing. And it's just something he's going to have to learn in the NFL. I'm not saying this is why you don't draft him. I'm just saying he's part of a project. It is a project, and there is always the risk that he never figures it out. Now, again, the comparisons are super clear to me that Justin Fields and Justin Herbert, they're like two almost identical prospects. Now, Fields is a much more accurate college quarterback than Herbert was, so there's that difference. But as a whole, there's a ton of similarities where ton of arm talent. You can clearly see their potential, but it just seems like there's a lot of flaws. I think Fields has a lot less flaws than Herbert did. Herbert improved a lot more. But the question is Fields going to also improve as much as Herbert did? And it's impossible to know that. So now I want to show this play. This is a very important play into understanding who Justin Fields is as a quarterback. There's going to be a interior defensive lineman who's actually going to get free completely untouched to Justin Fields. Watch. Fields takes the ball, and immediately he's under fire right here. This is one pretty much every quarterback just goes down. Doesn't even try to get around it. You just take the sack, live to see another play. That's what a lot of guys would do. That's what Tom Brady does. Justin Fields is a ridiculously talented athlete. He is not going to try and do that. He's instead going to say, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get around you. Fields makes a move. He is able to get around him and dumps the ball off to get a check down. Instead of losing 5 yards or so, they gain 7. That's a huge swing in that game. I mean, that's absolutely big. But now I got to show this play because this is where the issues arrive. Yes, he can make plays like that from time to time, but as a whole, he by far and away way more often runs himself into trouble than runs out of trouble. And I'd say way more often, he can have these horrible plays by not just taking a sack or throwing the ball away. It took until late into the third game that I watched him play till he had a single throwaway. I mean, he does not like to throw the ball away. And in fairness, it can work in college. It can work at Ohio State. It's not going to be able to work if he plays for the Jets, it's not going to work there. He's going to have to learn to throw the ball away and take sacks. So anyways, on this play, it's a cover 2 zone blitz right here. You see the receiver he wants to throw to. That's his first read. And again, kind of the issue is he learned some bad habits at Ohio State. He did. He's very much used to only having to look at one read. And if that's not open, then scramble and pick up yards that way. That's a difficult way to play quarterback. Usually you want to be able to go through your progressions better. But anyways, watch what happens. So Fields takes a snap. Not much of an opening right here. So, it is what it is. That guy's not open. Sometimes it happens. But this is 3rd down and 9. And Fields really wants to make something happen. So he's going to try to scramble, which, again, it's not necessarily the best thing that could work in the NFL. But it's probably better to try and scramble and pick up some yards that way on a key 3rd down than it would be to just, throw the ball away or take a sack when you're not under pressure. So I get it. This part is fine. No real problems here. However, when he tries to scramble, ends up running right into pressure. Again, it happens. No big deal. Take the sack. You're currently up 21 points. Not the end of the world. But as you notice, he's holding on to the ball with one hand. And not because he has improper form. It's because he's going to try and throw the ball while getting sacked, which is just such a baffling decision. And this is not the first time he's done something like this. Watch him just fling one up while falling down, ends up getting intercepted. And that put Indiana right back in that football game. Just a horrible decision. And I think maybe now you know what I mean when I say he gives me Carson Wentz vibes from time to time. If that's not a Wentz play, I don't know what is, quite frankly. Like, watch right here. So another similar idea. So Fields is under pressure. He gets around one guy. He's going to bounce off another player. And at this point, it's like, okay, what do you do right here? And still at no point, he's not going to say, okay, well, the play's over, got to get rid of the football. It's third down and 10. And so I think that's part of it is he has the mindset of we got to make something happen. But of course you don't. It's third and 10 in the first quarter. You're fine. Watch him again while getting tackled, just fling one up, and this one gets intercepted as well. So that just can't happen, and it's something he's going to have to learn not to do. I'm not saying he can't learn not to do it. It is concerning though. And now we'll move on to one like this because I think this is another good example. It's not necessarily always interceptions that make these plays not work. So he's going to take the snap, run a play action to his left, run out to his right, and then hit another player, an Ohio State player who's flashing over to the right. So that's the way this play is designed to work, but it's not going to work out too well. Watch. So Fields takes a snap. He does run this play action. And at this point, this play has been completely blown up. I mean, he's under pressure. Clearly, if he does make this throw, it's not going to go for too many yards. And I think that this is a clear example of throw it into the dirt. Just throw this one into the dirt. You're fine. A loss of just a down is not the end of the world. But again, Fields makes this throw anyways, and they end up losing a ton of yards that way. Not as big of a deal as some of these interceptions, but still not a great play. And again, it's just something he's going to have to learn. Now, every quarterback is going to have to learn something when they go from college to the NFL. Every quarterback is going to have to learn a lot when they go to college to the NFL. That's why it's so impressive when a rookie quarterback like Herbert can come in and just play like good, be a top 15 quarterback in the league as a rookie. That's like incredibly impressive, and everyone loses their minds, and for good reason. There's so much difficulties you have to face. But for Fields, it's a lot higher than your typical player. I mean, for Fields, really, I do think that when I see that he's under certain situations that are kind of NFL like, he has struggled. Whereas, again, it's maybe unfair to compare him to Zach Wilson because Fields is his own player. He should get graded as his own prospect, and he will. But I think that part of the reason why I'm bringing it up is like Zach Wilson, he does a tremendous job when he's under pressure. He does a tremendous job at fitting balls through tight windows. Whereas Justin Fields has a lot more open guys, and he has struggled. Really, it's his pocket presence and his inability to take a loss that I think are his biggest hindrances. And if he ends up not working out in the NFL, it'll be because of those two things. But all right, enough negatives. Let's show some positives because there is plenty good about Justin Fields. I'm not trying to say like he's for sure a bust. Don't draft him in the first round kind of guy. I wouldn't draft him that high up, but I do think that there is logic to it. And I wouldn't be shocked if, again, his ceiling is MVP. It really is. That's kind of how crazy of a prospect he is. This play, it's a cover one man play. Number 5 for Ohio State. He'll be running out to the left. That's the way this play is going to work. That's where he wants to throw. But that's not really the interesting part. Watch how once this play starts, you notice that Fields, he's currently, there's contact right here. He's getting hit as he's thrown. So wide open receiver, which is nice. That always helps. But you know what? You're getting hit as you're thrown. This makes it a very difficult play. And he's getting hit on his back of his hand, which is probably the worst place you could get hit to make this throw. However, he still pushes the ball downfield and makes an incredibly accurate throw. I mean, that was perfect. You can't ask for anything better than that. So you can sit here and say, well, he was wide open. But if you're making a perfect throw, who cares how open the guy is? You hit your spot. That's what your job is to do as a quarterback. This one's another great one where, again, it's going to be the same concept, cover one hole concept. So that's the route Fields wants to hit. But he is going to actually have to hit it a little bit early since it's going to actually be the linebacker closest to Fields' right, which is the top of the screen, who's going to cover the middle of the field. So really, Fields is going to have to make this throw in a hurry. So watch. Fields takes a snap. He then looks up. There is a window to make this throw, but again, there's that linebacker there. So he's going to have to make this throw now, and it's going to have to really be, zipped in there for it to be a completion. But that's exactly what happens. Great arm strength and great accuracy. Perfect job by Fields there. So again, his arm talent out of this world. And that's the second half of why I compared him to Wentz. Carson Wentz, the negatives are there, but Wentz also has incredible arm talent and is a great athlete. So is Fields. So that's why I think the comparison makes sense. And there was also this play that I just absolutely loved, which is, you might be confused. Wait, this is just a handoff. Why did you show that? But the reason is because I've circled, Fields right here, and I've circled Fields because of how really what he's going to do. Watch how he just hustles to get up there. He's going to actually outrun a cornerback and throw a block right there. Does it matter? No. But is a play like that just fun to see? Yeah, it is fun to see. And listen, we've seen like Russell Wilson do that before. It kind of shows, some heart and character. We've also seen Jameis Winston do that before, so it doesn't guarantee that it's going to work out. I think that sometimes these leadership sort of things get overblown. I care more about who you are as a quarterback, but hey, uh, I think that if you are one of the people that cares about that kind of thing, well, then Fields might be your guy because clearly that's promising to see that he can do something like that, to see that he can run up field and throw a block and he's willing to do something like that. It's very cool. And you're not going to have to tell him to like, hey, get more into it. He loves football. You could just tell that from watching the film. The question still though is it enough? And I do have one more negative to talk about. I do. I know. Listen, I think he's a first round talent. I think he's probably like if I have the 15th pick, I need a quarterback and he's on the board, I'm taking him. I'm just not sure if he's a top 2 quarterback or a top 2 pick. That's my concern. He's probably top 10. He's really good, but there are some concerns and I want to talk about those. So right here, this is in that playoff game against Clemson, and this is going to be a great play. This is going to be a great play. So why am I showing it as a concern? Well, so it's going to be a deep route, and spoiler alert, this route is going to get open down to field, so that's nice and good. Fields takes the snap. He's going to run to play action, has time, makes a really great throw down the middle. So you see that, yes, there is a receiver wide open, but this is going to be a great throw. The spot he has to hit is going to be a little over 50 yards down the field, and even more when you factor in, he's throwing from the hash marks and getting closer to the sideline. So even further there. So over 50 yards. And just watch how accurate of a throw it is. That's beautiful. I mean, you could argue it's a little bit overthrown. I think you're incredibly nitpicky if you're arguing that one was overthrown. That's a perfect throw, exactly where he wanted it. Incredible throw from Fields. The problem is every time I see one of those, I see 3 misses, and this one is going to be one of them. It's a cover 3 zone with an extra player in coverage, so only a 3-man rush. Again, Fields is going to have a deep route. And sometimes watching these plays, I'm like, how do guys get so open? It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It actually looked like Clemson was trying to get maybe like a timeout or an audible at the last second or something. So that might factor in. But watch. So Fields takes the snap. He is going to make this throw. You are going to once again see just a receiver this is wide open. You cannot miss this throw in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo missed one of these throws in the Super Bowl. He's going to get talked about that for the next 50 years, right? Like these are throws you have to make, and Justin Fields isn't consistent at them at this point. Watch, it's just an overthrow. This one's another one where, again, I'm not picking these out of context. You can find plenty of these types of plays. It's again going to be a cover 3 zone. And why don't you take a guess as to what's going to happen once this play starts? As you see, Fields takes a snap. He makes this throw. And, oh, look at this. Once again, there's a receiver open deep down the field. But again, this throw is just going to be out of bounds. And maybe he tried to throw that one away, but given that there was an open receiver and the way Fields never throws the ball away, I highly doubt it. I think it was just a miss. Listen, I'm not trying to say that he's a bad deep ball thrower. I do think Wilson is better because he's more accurate, but Fields is still very good at the deep ball. My concern is that he does have some accuracy issues with the deep ball. It's really hard to throw an accurate deep ball. That's one of the most difficult things to throw in the NFL. But my main point is don't get too distracted by his big arm. Because, yes, he can throw it, a mile, right? Like his big arm is a huge attribute in terms of pushing the ball down the field. But he's going to, once again, have to make sure he gets the right touch on it, which is actually something we have seen guys get better at. We saw Herbert get better at it. We've seen Josh Allen this last season at the NFL level get better at it. So you can get better at it, but I do feel like there's been a lot of him either hitting wide open guys or him missing wide open guys. Like you really have to. Last year, I didn't see him hardly at all fit a ball through a tight window deep down the field. And another stat that I've seen get thrown out is that he does very well in plays 20 yards or more down the field. But I'm not really talking about those. I'm talking about like 40 yards down the field type of plays because he is good again over the middle. Great. Maybe the best quarterback in the draft at sort of those laser throws over the middle. That's not my concern. He's fantastic at a lot. He has his issues. And I think that we have to talk about both when you're talking about should you draft him with this high of a pick. And I just think that he has some things he has to fix. The more I think about it, I still think that he's an incredible player. I haven't evaluated every player in the draft just yet, so I can't really sit here and for sure say that like where should he be in the draft. I do think I have him below Zach Wilson, though. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Zach Wilson. I think Wilson is great. And I think it's unfortunate for Fields that he's currently in a draft class that has two incredible prospects because he's a great prospect himself. I feel like I've come off very negative in this video, but at the same time, like I think there are some real issues. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being too hard on Justin Fields? I'm sure some of you will. I'm sure all the Justin Fields fans aren't going to agree with me, but I do think that I think I'm making some decent points. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.